to the first ILINX Insiders event. And this is something new. I've got some slides because I don't know about anyone, Randy, I don't know about you, but it seems that I just can't think in a structured way without putting it into a PowerPoint presentation. So I do have an obligatory set of slides that I want to share with you before we really get into the meat. And it also goes over a little bit of the stuff that we're using and why this is all new and what we're doing here. So without further delay, I'm going to share my, let's see, window. I don't want that. I'll just share my screen. Boop, boop, boop.
Got it.
Randy, can you see that?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So again, welcome to the first ever ILINX Insiders stream event. For those of you that don't know us, we've got Randy Weekly, our CTO, and demo god, I would say. If you've seen any of our video demos and been a part of it, he's the guy that really knows how to spin a story and weave in all the good technology and explain to you why it's important. And me, I'm just the talker and the MC here as the director of product marketing. But really, I'm a product guy at heart. So check out that transition. Before we start, this is something completely new, at least it's something for me. So I'm a little anxious and excited. Together, we're using a completely new streaming platform. As you know, we're streaming to YouTube. This is a private ILINX user community event. And we wanted to really keep this, the emphasis on really more of a learning, the emphasis on creating and sharing things that we think are exciting and cool and why we think they're cool and why we think that you could really benefit from them, with an emphasis on less formality and more collaboration and making it short. So you probably see that chat screen on your right, my left. We want you to chat, add in some things. We want your participation. Subscribe. So this is something new because it's a function of YouTube and everything. This is our channel. If you subscribe, you're going to get notified of when something is coming up. And we may have some things that we do on a very short notification, maybe a couple of days. So we want you to subscribe there so you'll always be notified. But we'll always post the stuff on our LinkedIn user community as well. We're also recording this, so it'll see the light of day not only on this channel but within our user community, so that you have access to it. If there's something that Randy goes over that you want to revisit, that's your forum. And then the other bit of it is since this is a new technology thing, we might have some bits and some technical difficulties. One of the things I noticed is there's a slight delay between what Randy and I are talking about and what you're going to get on the YouTube stream, kind of like any other broadcast. So just that stuff, that's the stuff out of the way. So let's talk about today's topic. Everybody's talking about low code, no code. And the reality is that while there's software out there that basically talk about, position themselves in a category, low code or no code is really an attribute of really well-designed software, because ultimately we don't want everyone to have to be developers to do stuff. We want to leave that open because you need to have it extensible. But the idea of today's modern needs are that, it's all about being able to put stuff together. So we're going to provide some examples of, around how we add value, in this case to the Microsoft stack and vice versa. So how, it's all about composability. You'll hear that word in your readings and in the analyst reports and things like that. Challenges you face. So this is a little bit about why I always like to present, why does this matter? What's in it for me? And I already touched upon it. The reality is, you've got all sorts of needs when it comes to improving processes, and that shouldn't always require tapping into very, very overworked IT staff, or require you to bring forward development skills, which means it carries with it complexity. So the focus here is how business users using guide rails within the proper environment, how you can make changes and add value using ILINX and other systems. And so one of the things that I want to make note of, and Randy pointed this out yesterday, is that even though what you're going to see here is the Microsoft 365 stack in terms of examples, any modern application you can do this with too. So whether that's Workday or some other type of core business application where you want to take advantage of the really excellent process orchestration that ILINX platform has, or some of the document stuff, or eForms, all of that is available to you, and you can do things together. So it's really about leveraging your existing investment. And so that's it. Now we're going to get into the meat of it. Let's see this stuff. I'm going to turn it over to Randy, who is going to share his screen and talk the good tech talk. So let's do this.
Can you see that screen?
I can see it.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, like Greg kind of introduced the session today, we want to keep this kind of open and informal. And so chat up any questions you got there in the sidebar. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. And just as some background, we've had some low-code, no-code capabilities in the product for several years now, specifically when we're talking about reaching out to other systems to push and pull information. And in our eForm product, we had the ability to take any of the inbound eForm information and send that out to some type of REST service or other waiting webhook or web page with no coding. It was just configuration. And so that was super powerful. We liked that, but that really happened at the front end of the eForm submit process. And so what we wanted to do, and what we have done now, is we've taken that capability, we've moved it into a workflow activity so that you can use that anywhere in your workflow for basically anything that you can reach out to through a REST API. And that is becoming, and has been for a while, but it's certainly in the last maybe year or so, really just an explosion of tools from Microsoft, tools like Zapier and if this and that, and other types of web-based products that allow you to push stuff into a flow, and then you can do tons of different things. So in this case, we're going to be showing the Microsoft Power Automate platform. And I've just created a very, very simple flow here. I'll open this up. So let me edit that. And again, there are hundreds of things that you can do once you kick off one of these flows. And these flows can receive any information from your workflow you want. And I'll show you how that's configured in just a second. So in this case, we have an HTTP request. So we're going to post some information from our workflow, and we're going to send a text message, an SMS text message. So you don't really need anything at all for receiving the post from our workflow. To send an SMS, for example, you'll need a Microsoft Azure communications service set up. I have a phone number, and so you have to have an Azure subscription, but you can get all of that stuff. I think the phone will cost you something, but the sending of SMS, you can do a lot of testing for free with that. So that's awesome that Microsoft provides that. So I'm going to leave that up, and I'm going to pop over now to our ILINX admin client. So this is new, little sneak preview here. This is our 9.5 administrative client. So here you'll find the centralized administration point for all of your ILINX system. This includes a capture, content store, and import and export and retention management. So in 9.5, you won't have to maybe go to a server to set up a different, import or export job. All of that is now centrally managed through this administrative client. So just so we're not, showing you smoke and mirrors here, I'm going to create a brand new workflow. So let's see, zero demo. What is today? Thursday. And so if you're not familiar with this concept here or our workflow, all I'm doing is creating a workflow, which is a set of metadata and some document definitions in this case, we'll create an e-form, and then we'll get into the workflow tool where I'm actually going to use our no-code REST call, and we're going to call out to that Power Automate example. So in this case, we're going to send a text message. So I need a to field. What phone number is that going to? And I need a message field. So just quickly define these. Now in this case, normal solution, we probably have some kind of document associated with this workflow. We don't have to use any of this, but I'm just going to define that. And then we're going to mark this as an e-form workflow. So that's it as far as, kind of defining that workflow container, that batch container. So we've got two other tasks that we'll need to do. Let's create our form, and this can just be something simple for our demo today. Demo, send SMS. So we have over 30 different types of fields that you can use in your forms. In this case, I'm just going to use a couple of very simple fields here. This is going to be our to, and we're going to map this to that batch field that we created earlier. And this one is going to be our message, and we will map that into our workflow field message as well. And I just need to remind myself here so this when you're sending through the Azure communication services, you need to use the country code. So I forgot that yesterday when I was testing this and didn't figure out why it wouldn't work. And I'm like, that's right. Okay, so our e-form is done. And again, it's just super simple e-form. Now let's go check out that workflow. So when you open up the workflow design tool, it's empty at first. And we're just going to go grab this new for 9.5, the call REST service. And I can configure this however I want to make it nice and lined up and all that. And we typically just throw a human queue in here just so we can kind of look at things as they're done processing. So we can rename this call SMS, and we'll go configure this. So this is all it takes to reach out to that Power Automate environment and kick off that flow. So if we come back over here to our flow, oops, I'm sorry, edit that again. For our first step is this HTTP receipt, and we just need to copy that URL because that's where we're going to send this information. And we'll paste it right there. We're going to do a post. We don't need authentication. It's baked right in. We've got some HTTP headers. This is kind of the just exchange, what type of information we're exchanging with that back end. And then we can send key value pairs. So this kind of depends on what your endpoint is expecting. In this case, we're just going to send some raw JSON. So I actually have this already. It's super simple, but I already have it in a little cheater window over here. And so this syntax allows me to specify any names for this information that the other side might be expecting. And I define that to be to and message. And then you'll see these little curly brackets here. We've got a note down here. Throughout our ILINX product, we have a number of places where you can use what we call merge tags. And we will, at evaluation time, we'll replace that with the value of that particular batch field or workflow variable or document field or whatever it is. In this case, we're going to take the information that's coming from our e-form for the to field, and we'll assign it to this to parameter, and same with the message. And we're done. That's it. I'm going to save and publish this. And fingers crossed here. Let's hop over to our engage client. So this is our end user. This is our Flex client, our end user client. And we're going to drop down the Z forms. Here's our demo Thursday form that we just created. It uses kind of the ugly default theme, which you can go in through our theme editor and make this really cool and pretty and make it match your environment. We've got that little pop-up thing that I had to remind myself, and actually that's my phone number that's cached for my previous form filling. And then hi from Thursday demo. And I'm going to submit this. So in just a second, I would expect my phone to ding, and there it is. And there's the, I don't know if you can see that, but says hi from Thursday demo. So we got our, our note. And in fact, if we come over back to our Power Automate environment, we're going to see 672 milliseconds ago, we had a successful execution of our send SMS flow. So that's really it. That's all it takes to send information up into the Power Automate environment. So I wanted to throw out just a couple little kind of fun things. We're going to go back into our workflow. I'm going to drag this down. We're going to call another flow that I put together, which puts that information into a Teams chat. So quickly, let's pop over here, check out my flows, send a Teams chat. I'm going to edit it so I can do the same thing we did before, which is to copy that endpoint. Oops. Okay, we want the same stuff. We're going to send raw data. Copy that. Boom, we're done. And then just for fun, I'm going to add yet another one. And this one is going to call a Zapier endpoint. And it is going to take that information and send. I only care about the message. For this setup, it's just going to send the message. I'm going to save that. That's applied to our system. Come back over here. Let's try this again. Hit submit. Everything works correctly. I'll get a little ding. There's the ding. And if we pull up the Teams chat over here, we've got the message that came through in Teams. And then in just a second, my Zapier flow sent that message information to me in an email from my Google account. And so this is what came from Zapier. So you can see it is really easy within the system to use this new service to reach out to other systems. And what's exciting too is some of these systems that we're reaching out to have very sophisticated APIs, and they're sophisticated enough that a simple little no-code solution like this probably isn't going to give you the full integration capability you want. But by using a Power Automate, they have these very robust communities, vendor communities, package connector sets that you can use to do these fairly sophisticated types of integration without coding. In fact, one of the other Zapier flows I put together actually logged into my Salesforce account and added a user into a campaign, a sales marketing campaign. So it's just like I feel like a kid in a candy store when I go into these solutions, and the fact that we can feed it with our real business information and stuff that's in the workflow, sending documents even, and putting that information into a Power Automate flow. If you want to share that, and for years we've been able to send information into a database up in Power Automate, and then use that for Power BI or pushing downstream into other applications. So I hope that kind of resonated and get you a little excited about some of this low code, no code stuff that you'll be able to do in 9.5. And yeah, if you got any questions, we're happy to answer those. I'm going to turn this back over if I can figure this out to you.
Yeah. So, all I saw there was just copy and paste, and it provides some of the logic that you have to do to pop in there. It was funny. Marty and I were doing a webinar yesterday where we were talking about, multi-channel and customer experience and whatnot. And I just saw a perfect example of how, a couple of workflow items could send messages to Teams, email, and text all at the same time. And I got it here too, which was pretty cool. So as it popped up there, so it's really immediate. Yeah. So this is it's like we're bringing the mashup. Remember, mashups were all the rage, and they were talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
that a few years ago, but they weren't really approachable from a non-developer standpoint. And so we're entering in this new age of all of these more, communities, like what you said, of people that build these different integrations and different processes that we can tap into, and ILINX can add a lot of value and can add a lot of value to ILINX. Yeah, so that's hugely exciting. If anybody's seeing this, if you don't ask questions right now, post them to the user community or reach out to Randy or me, and we'll start a conversation, because this should just start just the ideation of what types of opportunities, like you said, Salesforce, anything where you can add, you can take ILINX eForms and document stored in ILINX and the processes and do that. So that's super slick. All right, well, that's it for today. As you can see here, we're keeping true to our word, and it was 20 minutes, hugely digestible. You're going to find this video on the community in a little bit. And for those of you that are joining that haven't joined yet into our community, sign up. This is just the first of many things. Randy and I were just talking right before this that we want to talk more about and share with you some ideas on what we're using or what we're thinking about in terms of AI. And later today, you're going to see an article posted in the user community about some stuff regarding AI and different types of things. So a lot of exciting things coming around in the pipeline with respect to that, and we want you involved. So again, hey, Randy, thank you very much. He's in Olympia. I'm in Colorado. Have a safe flight back, and we'll see you later. Bye.